Hey, good morning, Liberty North, AP Psych. It is Thursday, April 30th. We have some important announcements to get through today before we cover our two disorders. So I'm going to wait for just a second. Make sure I got my pen. Plus, I've been on two Zoom meetings already this morning. So I'm going to, when I tweet out the notes today, I'll tweet out this is a pretty important live stream, so everybody check and make sure they watch it for the information. Again, just to review, and some of you have already started submitting your AP notebook, which is awesome. So just however you want to get that to me digitally, electronically would be fine. And so I've had a couple people yesterday just give it to me bits and pieces, and I'll just keep track of all that. So however it'll work for you to get that done is fine. So just make sure, again, I've extended that to May 8th. So also I am changing, make sure you visit Canvas sometime later today, because I'm changing the assignment list for this chapter. So instead of, you're not going to take a chapter quiz anymore. That's just going to be your final. So I've kind of changed that, and this chapter, this unit will be a part of the final. But basically you can do that with a partner. And for those who won the scavenger hunt, their classes actually get to do the final as all one class. So I'll let you guys go over that. So our scavenger hunt winners were Jada Dickens and her group from first hour, Allie Hillman and Sabrina Madison from first hour, and then Zach Roddick from sixth hour. So basically the final, which is due May 12th. Okay. So there is no chapter quiz. So you're just going to have your charts that you'll turn in, and then you're going to have your vocab assignment, and then you just have the final. Okay. So first and sixth hour get to take the final all as a class, so they can turn in one document as an entire class. So somebody wants to start that, whoever wants to do that, just make sure everybody has their name on it. And I'll go over this more next week as well. And then the winning groups, so that those four get 100% on the AP notebook. So they do not even have to submit a notebook. Okay. All right. So that's with that. And then just know that I've removed the quiz for this chapter, and I've made it the final. And you can work on it now all the way up through May 12th, which is senior's last day. Okay. So check Canvas, check the assignments. And then so basically your notebooks or your charts, your two charts, we'll be done with those by Tuesday of next week. So your two charts, actually by Thursday of next week. So your two charts are due by that Friday, and your vocab assignment. And then all you have left is then the final, which you can work on with a partner. And there's part one and part two. And then if you're first and sixth hour, you should work on that as an entire class, and just make sure you get your name on the doc and one person submit it to me. Okay. All right. So that's a lot. Any questions on that? Okay. If there is by the end of the time, then just let me know. So really the only things you have to get done by May 12th is obviously your AP notebook, submit that to me. Your two charts, so your disorder chart, your treatment chart, your vocab assignment over 16 and 17, and then your final, okay, which will be on there by the end of the day. And again, you can do that with a partner. And then if you're first and sixth hour, you get to do that as an entire class. Okay. All right. And again, if you have any questions, contact me and let me know, and we'll work it out. Okay. All right. So, all right. So if you want to get out your psych disorder chart, okay, today. And we're going to have 17 of these. I figured it out yesterday. So we're going to be done with the chart. Again, this is Thursday, so there's no live stream on Friday. So let's just get your work done, which is why I want to have the assignment link from Canvas updated. And then we'll do 2 on Monday and 2 on Tuesday. So we have eating disorders, and then we have neurocognitive, neurodevelopmental disorders on Tuesday, and then we'll do Wednesday and Thursday will be the treatment chart. It's only 2 parts, so we'll do part 1 and part 2, and then we'll be done. We've covered everything, and then Monday and Tuesday there'll be live streams, but basically more informative to just kind of make sure that you're turning stuff in and getting your final done, and then we'll get the seniors done, okay, and then juniors and sophomores. We will continue on for the next week, and we'll do some fun stuff, and you'll have some fun project. You'll have one fun project that we'll do, okay? Okay, so today we're going to cover what is known as somatic symptom disorders in the DSM, okay? So number 12 is called conversion disorder, a very fascinating disorder. And number 13 is illness anxiety disorder, or what is commonly referred to as factitious disorder, and what used to be called hypochondriasis. So if you ever heard the term culturally used of being a hypochondriac or a germaphobe, that's kind of what this is now, illness anxiety disorder, okay? Both of these are somatic symptom disorders, and this is AP Learning Target number 7, okay? Okay. All right. And basically, the key thing you need to know about these disorders is that somo in somatic. So somo means body. All right. So literally, somatic means body form. Okay. And that's exactly where the name comes from, is that these disorders, basically what happens is my intense anxiety takes on a body form. Okay. It takes on a body illness. Because my anxiety is out of control, both physically and psychologically, it begins to manifest itself in bodily forms, bodily ailments, if you will, in which there's no medical reason for me to have them, okay? So it's similar to a panic attack. So a panic attack is kind of a good example to where my anxiety takes a huge, massive physical form, okay? Here, the disorders, the anxiety basically takes a kind of unhealthy illness or ailment form in my body, in which there's no medical reason for it. There's no explanation for it, okay? So the first one is kind of the most prevalent, which is called conversion disorder, okay? And that is basically where my anxiety is converted to a body ailment, okay, or an illness, okay? So anxiety is converted to body form, illness, ailment, or condition. Okay? All right. So my anxiety is converted, thus conversion disorder, to body form, illness, ailment, or condition, okay? And these can be very, very severe, okay? Now, the most common conversion disorders deal with kind of like a physical ailment, and people will actually, due to anxiety, and this is kind of where the amazing part comes, people will actually lose their sight briefly. They'll become paralyzed. They'll lose the ability to talk. That's actually very common. Anxiety can become so intense, people lose speech. Okay, now, speech works fine, the eyes work fine, the body works fine. It's just because of the acute anxiety, the intensity of the anxiety, things just start to shut down briefly. Now, they will always come back, so nobody, because of anxiety, loses their sight permanently, because there's no physical reason for it, other than it's just a manifestation of the anxiety. Okay, numbness, loss of hands, loss of ability to walk, see, speak, hear. A lot of your senses come and go when your anxiety is very intense. So it's kind of what's happening here. Okay, now these are generally environmental. And obviously they are neurotic. Okay. Now you might think, well, geez, how is this not biological? Well, we know it's environmental, and it's at the base, at its core, because when you remove the anxiety, everything goes back to normal. So, they're anxious about something in the environment, right? A situation or a thought. And so once we kind of deal with that, then the illness and the ailment goes away. Plus, they're never permanent. Okay, they never last long. They basically just last as long as this current anxiety spell lasts. Okay, but obviously it can become even more anxious. Like if all of a sudden you kind of have a panic attack, and then later on you just can't see. You can't hear, you can't speak. When I was in my clinical training, we had somebody with conversion disorder, and that's what they had acute anxiety and were treated for anxiety, but they would lose the ability to speak actually during a therapy session. If we would bring up certain things, they couldn't speak. And then once, the anxiety was removed or whatever, then it slowly kind of came back. Very, very fascinating. But actually conversion disorder is a somatic symptom disorder. Okay. As part of her anxiety. Okay. All right. The next one, which you all are probably very familiar with, which is called hypochondriasis. Okay. So if I'm a hypochondriac, I'm worried, I'm a germaphobe, but I'm worried that I have illnesses, okay? Major diseases. So these would be the people that would be really struggling with COVID-19. So they would be obsessed with watching everything and gathering all the information they can about COVID-19. They'd be constantly worried that they had COVID-19. But then the other thing, the somatoform of this, is that they actually develop symptoms of the illness of which they're afraid of, okay? So here, anxiety is converted to known illness, disease, sickness, symptoms. Okay. Okay. So now what most people kind of miss with this disorder, hypochondriasis, hypochondriac, factitious disorder, illness, anxiety disorder, okay, is that they actually have the symptoms of the disease of which they're afraid of getting. So their body actually manifests the symptoms, but they're fake symptoms. They don't ever fit the true diagnosis for the illness or the disease that they're afraid that they have, okay? So anxiety is converted to known illness, disease, sickness, and the symptoms related to that, okay? So they will go to the doctor and they will say, that I have COVID-19, I have coronavirus. We'll test them, and they'll actually even have some of the symptoms. We'll test them and it'll come back negative. They don't really have the illness, but their body is manifesting the symptoms of the disease or the illness that they know, okay, based on what they see on TV. Like if you've noticed on COVID-19, they're saying, here are the 6 main symptoms. Well, these people are going to get those symptoms, okay, but they're not going to get the illness, right? Their body's just going to manifest what they know and what they perceive is part of it, okay? And these people will get diseases and illness that's impossible for them to have. Like Scrubs does a really good one where the guy thought he had Yaba disease, which is very rare and it's really only found in animals. But he thought that he had Yaba, and he displayed some of the symptoms, but not all of them. And then of course, when they test him, he does not have it, okay? So any major illness that goes around, the flu is a big one because flu, every year we have flu season and people make a big deal about it. They quote stats on the news and so on and so forth. And so the people who have an illness, anxiety disorder start to develop symptoms of the flu. Go to the doctor, but they don't have the flu, okay? Same thing when we had, SARS, bird flu, swine flu. Anytime there's a major illness outbreak, these people kind of start visiting doctors, which I'm assuming, has been part of the overload on our healthcare workers who deserve so much grace and thanks during this time. Their experience of this event, I'm sure they will never forget. It's been much more traumatic for them than it has been for you and I. Just terrible working conditions, overwhelmed working conditions. But, these people have been flooding doctors' offices. That's what happens. They think they have it. And again, these people get on the internet, which you should never do if you have anxiety, right? Because it's going to lead you to a brain tumor. That's actually one of the biggest things that they're afraid they get. Because if you start looking up symptoms on the internet, it always leads to you that you have a brain tumor. So it's kind of like 7 degrees to a brain tumor, okay? And so these people go to the doctor and say, I have a brain tumor. I know I do. I have a brain. I have a mass in my brain. Da, 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 da. I have these symptoms. And then we can give them every test that we can give them, and that proves that they're wrong, but they're still going to develop the symptoms. Okay. So I think a lot of times in society, we realize that this disease, people are scared of getting sick constantly, and they're constantly obsessed and they're worried about it, and it creates panic and fear. But what we kind of miss is the second part of that, is that these people actually develop physical symptoms of the illness, but they don't have the disease, and they don't fit the full diagnostic criteria for the illness. They just display and develop the symptoms that they know about, that they see on TV. Okay. This one again is environmental. And it also is neurotic. Both of these are. Okay. Since again, it's the neurosis, the intense anxiety that leads to this. Okay. So again, it's hard to imagine, but both of them are environmental. If you can get rid of their anxiety, then basically, the symptoms go away. And the symptoms come and go. Again, they never last, they never become permanent, and they don't really ever fit the full diagnostic criteria for the illness that they're scared of. Okay. And then neurotic for both. Now, again, some of these diseases that they think that they have, you're wondering how on earth, like Ebola, back when that is, and every once in a while you get somebody that thinks that they have Ebola. Mad cow's disease was a big one as well. I mean, it's how do you manifest symptoms of mad cow's disease, which is a neurological illness and disorder. But they're scared that they have it. Tinnitus, ringing of the ears, is one. Is a big one, that they will actually develop ringing in the ears based on their anxiety. And you can kind of find that in several anxiety disorders. But even when you go to the big ones, mad cow's disease, Ebola, how do they develop symptoms? Well, they get the symptoms that only their body can manifest because of the anxiety. But again, they never fit the full diagnostic criteria for the disease or the illness. Okay. So again, somatic, somo, body, form. Okay. So this is where my anxiety becomes so intense that it takes on a body form, usually an ailment, an illness, a disability. Okay. Here it's more specific because it's based on an illness that I'm afraid that I have. Here it's just my anxiety is converted temporarily to some physical ailment, and it can be it can be there's a large group of things. I think the number one is loss of ability to speak, loss of ability to see, and then kind of loss of an arm or a limb, physically unable to kind of move it or use it, unable to walk. I've seen that. So, those are kind of the things that in conversion. And then in illness, anxiety disorder, factitious disorder, it's basically always a symptom of the disease or more than one symptom. Okay. And no matter how how much evidence you show them that they don't have it, they still are scared that they do have it. And they, that they got to go get another opinion, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right. So these are somatic symptom disorders, AP learning target number 7. Okay. All right. So again, you're going to have 14 and 15 are going to be our eating disorders. And then 16 and 17 are going to be our neurocognitive and neurodevelopmental disorders, which will be the book ADHD, ADD, autism would be developmental disorders, and then dementia is going to be our neurocognitive disorder. Okay, so again, the DSM does also have neurological disorders in it, so that's part of it. And same thing with eating, sleep disorders, and so on and so forth. Okay. All right, any questions for today? Again, congratulations to the 3 groups that won the scavenger hunt with my personality match. And hope they enjoy their spoils very well. Okay, if you have questions on anything that you need to turn in, just let me know. But I'm going to get that assignment link, so check that later on today, and I'll have your final on there. It'll be the same format: pick learning targets, use vocab. It's just going to be that. But that you have 4 already for 16 and 17 that you've got to do, 4 out of the 17, and then I'll probably just have you pick 1 more from chapter 15 and 1 from chapter 18. Okay. All right, any questions? Okay, again, remember, no live stream tomorrow. Get work done or take the day off. You know, whatever you need to do to stay healthy mentally, okay, because that's a battle during this time, obviously. So remember to take care of yourself. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And we'll go from there. Same thing, if anything I forgot about, let me know because I can put it in the tweet as well, okay? All right. Have a good Thursday. Have a great Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Looks like it's going to be sunny and 80s this weekend, so something to look forward to. And then, of course, May 4th. May the 4th be with you on Monday, so we'll definitely have a Star Wars theme on Monday. And then also looks like we're going to be opening up. So we'll all be able to go places a little bit easier and hopefully can begin the slow process of putting coronavirus behind us. But although it'll never be behind us, I'm sure we'll be dealing with it forever. So, okay. All right, you guys have a good weekend. Remember, no live stream on Fridays tomorrow, and then check Canvas.